you grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. We wanted to have something out just before New Year's or right around New Year's. And then we decided to just take more of a break and play some more games and watch some more movies and just extend that a bit. We are still on hiatus till the second, third week of January before the regular show comes back. But there's still a few reviews that were for items that came in just before Christmas that we've now had a chance to look at that we wanted to have out and be timely with. Some movies, a game in here, maybe some thoughts on some other things. And it's going to be a pretty straightforward, quick episode. And then I'll come back sort of at the end just to give an update. I believe we've got a few things planned for the next week or so before we come back on the regular. And I'll fill you in on that at the end. I just wanted to say that we still have a few items that are in the mail. There's a review item for a piece of technology that we were told was sent, and I have the tracking number, was sent on like the 2nd or 3rd of December, and it apparently has entered the country finally, and it could be here any day now. So it's one of those things where we wanted to have it out for our gift guide when the product was released, but due to the incredibly slow U.S. Postal Service, whereas FedEx and everybody else was delivering up here no problem, the U.S. Postal Service was swamped, and they were working hard. Like, I know they worked hard, but it was just they were so backlogged with Christmas that we still have, I think, we know at least maybe one or two other items that still haven't arrived, so we'll make sure that when we get the products, those will be the first things we review. But without further ado, let's get into the reviews here, sort of rapid-fire pace.
Basically, he was a geek, sir.
Leave me alone, geek boy.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
A box came just before Christmas that contained the most recent releases from Mill Creek. Both all Blu-rays, but both movies and some television shows. So over the course of a week or so, I had a chance to sort of sit down, watch everything, and I thought, how am I going to do this? We're technically off on break. Well, why don't we sort of do a roundup again of the most recent ones, just so they can be out there, so that our reviews aren't coming so late after the holidays, because we had technically already shut down right as they arrived. Well, the first thing that was sent with it that I noticed was we received both the Steelbook and the standard edition of the next big release in their Ultraman series, which is Ultraman Taro. So the Steelbook is about half as thick because it's in a standard Steelbook case, and then the regular edition is in their standard case that fits with all the other ones that they've had. This is actually the first Steelbook that they've sent us. So I had a chance to check out both. The discs are identical. It's just the packaging that you're going to see that's different. And they come with a digital copy for their Movie Spree website, which is pretty good. I wish it had, more variety, like more people knew about it, because it is sort of a fringe service, but it seems to be pretty solid, and it's growing with every release that they have, which is pretty sweet. So, it's a standard, like, if you've heard and seen some of the other Ultraman releases, it's in the same vein, it's the same quality, no mastering issues, good quality audio. The video is actually a little better on this. Each release gets a little better because it gets newer and gets a higher budget from the original production. You get about 22 hours of programming on the set, which is pretty sweet. It is the 6th series, so if you've been collecting them and you put them on your shelf side by side, the back spine actually forms like a large mural that will contain all the different Ultramans. So that's pretty sweet. Feature-wise, it is the standard booklet that has a description of the episodes, and then you get your digital copy that you can use to watch on their service. I finally signed up for it. I've already had the service, but I finally got the app and signed into it on my Roku TV because I didn't realize Roku had an app for it all. So I can now watch it. Like, I've got 2 Roku TVs, one in the living room, and I have one in the bedroom, so I can actually pop on and watch a digital copy without having to pop the discs in if I choose to do that, which is pretty sweet. So at this point, I think whether or not you're one of the fans of their Ultraman series. It is still consistent quality, and I'm glad they've stuck with it. And it appears that we are going to be getting, I think every release in it. Like, there was worry that they might, lose interest or not release them all, but it doesn't appear that way. It looks like they are moving forward with putting out absolutely everything. One of the other releases that came is the Freshman in their VHS line, where it's it looks like a slipcover of a VHS tape over top of a Blu-ray. Most of these have been released by other companies before on Blu-ray. Not every one is the case, but right here with the Freshman, it's a film I had seen actually in that VHS cover case way back years ago. it was one of the better weird later Brando performances with an early Matthew Broderick. Not, he had just come off of the heels of Ferris Bueller. So it's a pretty solid, I guess, dramedy, best way to put it. And again, you get widescreen presentation. You end up with, Dolby Digital. It is just 2.0, but it's good stereo, whereas I remember the VHS sounding like crap. So that's great. The other 2 that I received as far as single disc DVD reviews was Like Father Like Son, which is a film I had never seen, but I had always thought looked goofy, and that's a Dudley Moore, Kirk Cameron, one of those switcheroo body films. It's like Freaky Friday, but with father and son. So one ends up being a business guy, one ends up being a teenager, and hijinks ensue. It's standard 80s fare, but left me with a smile on my face. No special features to speak of other than just the standard, basic release. But I do like that they're putting a lot of these catalog titles out. The MSRP is $15 for all these VHS Rewind editions, but in reality, it's usually like $10 on Amazon or Walmart. So regardless, it's a good deal, and I would say it's worth picking up. The one I was most excited out of these, they sent of these 3, were Accepted. Now, Accepted is one of those teen comedies from that golden era of when the teen comedies took over, circa 98 to 2008 or so. And this was the Justin Long movie. Sort of introduced us. Really early role for Jonah Hill. This is pre him breaking out as a mainstream big star himself. And some other familiar faces you might see in it. Louis Black's obviously was famous at the time for doing a lot of his correspondent stuff on The Daily Show and obviously his stand-up. And what's interesting about this release is it's the first time it's ever been on Blu-ray. It was one of the launch titles I remember, like within the launch window of the HD DVD player when I was working retail, and I picked up an HD DVD player because we got a store discount. I think I paid $250 when it was normally like $300 or $400 for the Toshiba HD DVD player, when Blu-ray players were $1,000, and they were competing really early on. This was one of those titles that was completely exclusive. It never ever got released, even after the fact. Like, the other big one at the time was the Transformers movie, was an exclusive. Paramount had their deal. Was it Universal had a deal too? Somebody else. But this is one of those ones that got lost by the wayside. It never ever had an HD release for home video outside of the HD DVD, which was I think it was a combo disc. So you could still use it because the one side was a regular DVD. But it was a single layer, which at that time was a 15 gigabyte disc with some features on it. And the video quality, to be honest, compared to now was kind of crap because they used, I think it was the VC1 codec, which is antiquated now because the AVC codec was much better. But that's too much technical jargon. Basically, the disc was double the size of a DVD, dual layer disc, but the quality really wasn't up to snuff for a good 1080p clean picture, as this was 2006, really early on. Fast forward to 2020, and it just sort of slips in here, and it's got an MSRP of $20, and I was like, why is it 20? Usually their stuff is about 15. And then I remembered, this is the first time it's ever been on Blu-ray. I don't think anywhere in the world, I could be wrong, but I've never seen a copy that was like region free or something you could get. And it is a single layer disc, but remember, single layer Blu-ray is 25 gigs. So I double checked, and funny enough, from way back in the day, I still had when I had an HD DVD ROM drive and all the format was dying, I made sure that I had backups of all of those HD DVDs because I wasn't sure, if I was ever able going to play them again, if there was going to be Blu-rays, whatever. And I found an old hard drive that had it on it and did a comparison, and there's a dramatic increase in quality. So deleted went, my copy of the HD DVD from, 14 years ago, finally got to be deleted and removed from that hard drive. And I can finally toss the dual-sided disc that I had that had the HD DVD on one side and the DVD on the other, because there's a substantial upgrade in visual quality here. As well, the audio track is now DTS surround versus I think it was Dolby True HD, which is technically lower quality. It was just an inferior release because it was an early HD release, like early, one of the first maybe 50 releases. So now it finally gets the justice it deserves, because it is a funny film, and it doesn't have a ton of features or anything on here, but it doesn't need them because it's a pretty straightforward, handful, 10 really, really funny moments, and then it makes you smile throughout it. Some problematic jokes, but you know what? So what? It's funny. It's ridiculous. It's sort of from the hallmark time of these teen movies, and I'm happy with it. So it is one, if you have not seen it, or you've maybe wanted it but realized that the only way to play it was on a regular DVD player or hunt down some dead HD DVD player tech. Now you can find it on Amazon, buy it from Mill Creek Direct, or go into Walmart, Best Buy. I guess Best Buy might carry it. Anywhere that's going to have Mill Creek releases, you'll be able to pick it up, which is actually really, really good for them. The other things that were included in the set that we received, the boxes, were a couple 4-pack family movies, or 4-pack of DVDs, and there was a couple that I hadn't seen on these. In particular, I had seen. There's a comedy. It's just comedy favorites. Yumi and Dupree. I had seen that one before. Because I Said So, I hadn't seen. The Wedding Date, I hadn't seen. To be honest, I fell asleep through that because a lot of them, it's like rom-coms that I'm not necessarily into. Head Over Heels, same deal. But it is sort of just a repackaging of 4 popular contemporary movies from that time period on the disc. So it's 2 discs. You get 2 movies per disc, and pretty solid. I ended up after watching them and going, okay, well, who gets this? So that went to my mom as like stocking stuffer. Here you go. Here's DVD. She loves popping those in. The other set that I think is more recommended, especially if you're somebody who doesn't care if you necessarily have Blu-rays, or if you're looking for your grandparents or somebody, or you want just something extra for the extra bedroom. It's the Thriller set. So it's got The American on there, which I think was a little underrated. It didn't get the best reviews when it came out, but I liked it. The Constant Gardener is a great movie. That one I remember seeing when I was in high school and loving it. Breach is pretty good, and 21 Grams is also a really good movie. So I think that's a better, more solid set. MSRP of $15. 4 films, probably find it for about $10, $2.50 a movie. Good deal. Well worth it, and the transfers are all good. They're all dual layer discs, and the movie gets, there's no features, so the movies get the full single layer each, which you don't usually get in a lot of DVDs. So it is, you're not compromising quality here. Don't worry about that. Man, hiccup in the middle of this. And that was sort of going to do it for all of the current Mill Creek stuff that we received. There's probably more coming in the mail soon, because you never know with the stuff from the States. It might just show up. But it was a pretty solid set of releases that were coming out right in December and mid to late December, early January, that we had hoped initially to get in for our coverage beforehand, but unfortunately came after we were done our regular programming. Out of the bunch, I would say the highlights to me are Accepted, if you like those teen comedies, like Father Like Son's good, and of course Ultraman, but pretty solid releases all around. There weren't anything here that I was like, nah. For my own personal tastes, I wouldn't necessarily want the rom-com stuff, but it is a solid set of features in that genre that I think pretty much anybody that does like it would be happy to receive. Just before the holidays came and went, we received 2 review copies, one for Birdman, one for myself, of a game that was on our radar when it was announced earlier, I believe in the summertime, which was Override 2 Super Mech League. We played the first one, and it's sort of like a spiritual successor to those old arena brawlers. Think a bit of Virtual On mixed with like King of the Monsters sort of thing. Here, this time, we have the next-gen versions, so we're playing them on the Xbox Series X, but it's also available on PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, and Xbox One. And what you're getting with the higher end version is obviously lock 60 FPS with 4K. HDR seems to work well. It's not like overly strong color correction or anything on there, but it's pretty straightforward. Audio is your standard surround audio with it, but again, it plays without any hiccups, with slightly better fidelity, slightly better detail. Not a whole lot, except for just running more rock solid at the higher frame rate on the Series X. So we had a chance to play against each other, as well as playing the single player and some of the online arena modes. This is the game, if you're unsure or if you think you've heard of it but you're not quite 100%, where have I heard that before? This is the game that had that Ultraman trailer for it, where they have Ultraman DLC, which has Ultraman, Bemular, Dan Moroboshi, and Black King included. There's you can get that separately or as sort of a bundle when you purchase the game. And the other mechs that are included are sort of plays on iconic style mecha from mecha anime, but their own unique games, own unique characters in themselves. You have your heavier set characters that move slower but do pack more of a punch, smaller, faster, ones that are more ranged, ones that are just sort of well-rounded. Standard stuff. It's fun to pick up and play for 10, 15 minutes at a time, doing a few random rounds or playing in leagues. When you play the game, there's a fairly easy to follow tutorial mode that unlocks things like the garage, where you can change parts and characters and purchase them with points you earn in-game or defeating things or beating leagues. Do better and you get sponsors and quotes similar to what you'd get in like a racing game like a Gran Turismo, and you get awarded money for beating tournaments and different styles. There's 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 1-on-4, everything you could imagine from an arena brawler. It's all in here, and it loads super quick. I had a pretty good time with it. It is a step up from the last game. Nothing revolutionary though, but it's definitely a solid game that works well on previous gen, this gen. I'll tell you right now, it works a hell of a lot better, and it's a hell of a lot more stable than Cyberpunk was. So, take that into account. It is a solid game, and it's budget priced, not at the full retail. You're not going to spend 80 Canadian for it, or 90 Canadian. It's priced in that $50 to $70 range, depending on your region and what your pricing or what your dollar value is. So it's good value for your money. And, it is something that I think Birdman and I will probably still pick up and play back and forth, random rounds now and then as we go on. So it's definitely worth checking out.
This is a fair request, and I promise I will not judge any person only as a teenager, and that this is no more right than saying all teenagers are drunken dope addicts or glue sniffers.
Our friends at Olive Films sent over their latest release, which is from the Paramount archive that they've licensed, which is John Ford's Rio Grande. And it's John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, one of the classic Western war sort of hybrid period pieces that came out in John Wayne's career that I had heard of. It came out in 1950, but never actually seen before. And, if you love these classic films, it's one of the, I guess, premier ones. It's one of the ones that sort of has to be on your bucket list of things to watch. I have to talk about how good the transfer is here. This is a black and white film with every little intricate piece of film grain intact without it detracting or anything from the detail. Fantastic black levels. Even the grading and the gradients are... it's almost like the grayscale has color to it. Not as in a physical color, but you can tell how many things have different textures and colors and stripes and fabrics and how things are interwoven. You can even see the types of stitching and cotton that was used. It's one of those fantastic transfers. There's a ton of features on here. I went through most of them. There's a commentary with film historians in here. There's tons of descriptions on like how the story was written, how it was directed, how the production was made, the period piece that it's based on, theatrical trailers, a visual essay where it shows off, just an absolute ton of detail about this. It's one of those kind of releases that I wouldn't even expect, Olive to put out. Olive puts out good releases, but it's the kind of thing that you'd expect almost like Criterion quality of the amount of production that was put into this release. Thick, glossy paper for the booklet that it comes with that has all of the essay and description of the film in it. Like really high quality photos on the inside of the box for the box art. It is one of the better releases I've seen in the John Wayne collection because a lot of his stuff, like you have the Searchers and other things that have come out that, yeah, they look good, but they were early on in the Blu-ray era. And this is sort of making me go, ooh, I wonder what they could do if they took some of his films and put them, did a full 4K remaster and did a HDR color grading for the black and white. You'd even get, more, lighting and detail put into these black and white productions when they're well lit like this. But very good release. If you're a John Wayne fan or a collector of classic films, you're probably going to like it. For those of you that have been listening for a while, you know that we are pretty big fans of scores and soundtracks. I like for my own reasons. Birdman's a big fan. Everybody on the Twig crew loves them, even if it's just to put in the background. And pretty much the best label and only one putting out the like widest range and like highest quality releases is La La Land Records, and they sent over a bunch of stuff in the past that we've reviewed, and in the most recent box that we received was one thing I wanted to highlight right here, that because there were plenty that we covered before, but this one I wanted to sort of focus on right now, which is the Stargate 25th Anniversary Expanded Limited Edition 2 CD set. So that came out, it's a celebrate in 2019 that it came out, but it went back sort of into print again. There's 3,000 limited edition copies for $30 retail. You get 2 discs, the whole score, a booklet with some fantastic artwork and descriptions on the songs and when they were written and how they were included, and just overall a fantastic score, because we've heard the Stargate soundtracks before. You've heard, especially if you're a fan of the TV shows, the theme for SG-1 was based on this. It was mostly the same, but they made some adjustments later on. But this is the original score by David Arnold. Now, you end up with 2 discs. The first disc is 51 minutes long. The second disc is 58 minutes, I think, or so. Just under about 10 minutes shy of 2 hours long. And included with the special edition is a bunch of extra tracks that they consider additional music. So in addition to the overture, which is the main theme that you would know and hear, they have film versions. They have versions that of these songs that were recorded but then not used or trimmed, so it's kind of neat to hear that. And then the additional music is an alternate excerpt from like when the Stargate opens, music that was not used, a choir addition to certain songs that had a choir that had the choir removed, so you get to hear alternate takes of the end credits. It's pretty sweet, and it's kind of getting us pumped because we are going to be recording sort of it's not really a living campaign, but we are going to be having an extended season of recordings of our own SG1 RPG that we're playing with the Wyvern Games rules that are out. We're just waiting for, I guess, final rules and printing and everything to come out, and we'll be releasing that. We have our own theme song that we've had commissioned for this. We've got music library that we've licensed that we can use, and just having the Stargate music in the background is sort of percolating in our thoughts and helping us get into the mood for when we want to play this. So, you'll have to keep, your ears and eyes out for that as we get into, I think, first quarter of the year. We wanted to launch it into January, February, but we still have to wait for the rulebook to be completed and sent out. So, look for that. That's going to be fun. Sort of getting back into that after having quite a bit of a break, after having some burnout with not being able to get everybody together to play. It's going to be fun with Stargate, and having the soundtrack for the original movie remastered is fantastic to go along with it. If you're a fan of sci-fi, especially sci-fi scores, this is going to be one you want to check out because it is limited. And there are other releases that we received from them recently that were also fantastic. They did The Boys season 2 score. There's a whole bunch of Friday the 13th ones that we've seen. Other Stephen King movies and television movies, they have the scores for them. They're all fantastic, all high quality, and generally 1 to 2 discs, limited editions. So if you're a collector, it's something you might want to have on your shelf. It's stuff that you're not going to find on Spotify. You're not going to find it, on YouTube Music. You're not going to find it on iTunes. Very, very unlikely you're going to find a lot of these because they're scores. They're not always on there. And if you're somebody who thinks, oh, I'm a pirate, I'm going to go find it somewhere. These are not the kind of scores you find there on the interwebs. This is not something. The collectors and people that appreciate this music are people that are willing to pay for it, and they buy it, and they have it in their collection. And I'm very happy to say that this is another stunning and stellar release from them. And I kind of hope that, with the success of Stargate on here, I kind of hope that they license SG1 and maybe Atlantis. Maybe we can get a whole bunch of that, so then we can really get pumped for when we end up playing or doing do a full rewatch. Because, hey, VEI just put out the complete series of SG1 in North America on Blu-ray. First time worldwide Blu-ray release of the series. Maybe now is a good time. Maybe it's time for Stargate to come back. And, I guess you could do your first 1-2 punch by picking this up and then picking up the SG1 Blu-ray set from VEI.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Okay, and that's pretty much going to do it for this quick edition, this New Year's edition of I guess our review shows. There were a couple other items, like I said, that were on the way that we're probably going to put together for something in the next week or so. I'm imagining in the next couple days there's going to be a bunch of stuff arriving because it'll be the first official days when the holidays aren't really running and maybe things have died down a bit. Birdman has taken longer than I think he expected to beat Cyberpunk, not just because of glitches. He had remarkably less than I did, even though we were playing on the same platform. We're going to have quite the discussion on that. I think the goal is this coming week to do the show on that. Whereas originally we were going to try to do it during our break, but it wasn't possible. He took a lot longer to complete it, which I don't know how he took that long, but he goes into strangely focused mode where he was just like basically farming things, and I don't know why, because you didn't need to, and I explained why you didn't need to, and he's just like, I just like doing it. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't. That's the most mundane part of the game. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into that. But we both, I think, had good experiences, and then a lot where we're like, you betrayed us. You betrayed us hard. So here's a little hint. I got my refund. I was able to get through what I could, but I couldn't complete certain. I completed the main game and then did the endings, all the endings except for one, but I couldn't get certain quest lines to work, and certain files were corrupting and all that, and I took advantage of the return. I was like, no, this is defective. and returned it. So did I beat the game? Yes. Did I get a refund? Yes. And then I'm just keeping my saves, and then eventually when things get worked out, I'll buy it when it's cheaper, because they don't deserve the money right now. But yes. Anyway, without going further into that, we'll save it for our big discussion. Anything else we've got coming? It will be some syndicated stuff if Nerd of the Third has anything coming out. I think we still have an episode that was supposed to be discussing the last 4 or 5 episodes of Star Trek Discovery Season 3 that we recorded right before Christmas, but I think Steve was taking his time, taking a bit of a break, and that should be out, I'm hoping, soon, because he said it was supposed to be out around Christmas or New Year's, and it hasn't yet. But that'll be out soon, and we'll have that to sort of publish, which is, if you want to hear our brains melt, that'll be a fun episode for you. And sort of what else have I been playing? What else have I been doing? I recently got Devil May Cry 5 Special with some Boxing Day gift cards, and I've been having fun with that, playing it on easy, because I'm not playing it for review, I'm just playing it for fun, and I kind of like playing something on easy, and I've never played one of those games before, so I'm having a good time with it. I watched the little video that it comes with to explain the history of the series, and I went, yeah, that sounds about as crazy as I thought. What else have I played? I played Miles Morales and beat it in 2 days, because that's what I am. I am the game player, the binge player. Had a really good time with that. I lent my brother my Demon Souls copy for that, and he hates Demon Souls, and I said okay, because I hate it too. I tried, and it just really isn't for me. So that's going to be traded in towards some title that might get announced soon. I'm not sure which one. It might be I put it towards Outriders, or I put it towards Balan Wonderworld or something. We'll find out. The other big thing is with the only other things I got for myself, because this was a year of a lot of gift cards, because presents wasn't really a big thing, so I got some cash that I was able to use to get myself some clothes that I was desperately in need of. It's like, yes, I live and stay at home during the pandemic, but you can only wear the same track pants so much before you're like, I need new clothes. Because they're just lounging clothes at home, but still. And I got, with the gift cards, I was like, okay, well, there's Amazon gift cards. I still have a bunch of grocery gift cards, so that'll be, my food is covered. So what am I going to get? I'll get something fun for myself. And I splurged on something that I had wanted from the second I saw that they announced it. I got Stargate SG-1, the complete series on Blu-ray from VEI. VEI's been hit or miss, mostly miss when it comes to Blu-ray releases. They don't seem to really understand what the consumers actually want, because they're releasing niche products for the collector market, but then they put out inferior print quality releases, or they crop them, or add digital noise reduction. They do stuff that's like amateur mistakes that they shouldn't be doing anymore, because for the most part their DVD releases don't have that. So it's like, what's going on? They feel, I think, the need to overly reduce a lot of film grain or things by putting a blurring effect over it, which negates the fact of putting it out on HD anyway. At that point, you may as well just release it at 480p, but then put all the episodes on like 2 discs. Don't care if you charge $100, just do it. But glad to say that in this one, yeah, there's some digital noise reduction, but it's nothing egregious. The visual quality is anywhere from 10 to 20% better than the regular DVDs were, but obviously play better blown up on a 4K TV. Than it's a lot easier to blow this up than it is to blow up the 240p signal after it's been deinterlaced on a DVD. So, and it looks a lot better in motion, because it is true 24 frames per second progressive. It looks, while not as visually detailed as some high-end remasters on DVD or Blu-ray look, like even Stargate Atlantis, because that was shot and released in HD, this still looks better in motion, because it's not having to do any weird frame rate conversions from 29 frames per second interlaced. So I'm happy with it. And it also has surround sound tracks for the first couple seasons that only ever had stereo on DVD and streaming. So it has a new mix. They must have got it from whoever did it for iTunes or somebody, and they've included it. Doesn't say it on the packaging, but I can confirm that every single season has surround sound and stereo, but it says stereo. So don't let their packaging mislead you. And it shrinks my collection down in size from having the DVD sets, which is 50 discs, down to 40, and then they included an extra disc that has some special features that, unless I'm mistaken, weren't included on any of the releases before. They're just stuff that was like on their website or specials, and maybe they were. I can't see where they were included. I looked at the features on all my other discs from the old seasons, and if that's the case, then they are including a bonus disc that isn't in anything else. So that's kind of sweet. And the other thing that's actually on the way is I originally ordered from VEI as well, Nash Bridges. They're complete 6 seasons on Blu-ray, but there's some problematic issues there where it does have the inferior quality where it's like it's not enough of an upgrade to warrant its price. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to hold off on that, especially when I saw that the Australian 3-season Blu-ray set that is a complete remaster, like a true remaster of Sequest DSV, is completely region-free and is sold in Canada on Amazon, like officially sold. And I went, oh, it's the same price? I'm going to get that. So that's coming on its way. It's sort of filling my void, my collection. I don't have a ton. I've downsized a lot of my collection to mostly space or time-based, like time travel-based sci-fi shows, as well as like things like Quantum Leap that are like body hopping, shows that were either rare or short-lived but were kind of cool. That were I like those sort of obscure shows. And then the third is usually that I collect is anthology shows like Twilight Zone. So that's helping me make room on the shelf by reducing a 10 DVD wide amount of or 10 DVD boxes wide set down to one that's about the size of, what is it, 4? 5? It's basically taking up half the space on the shelf, which is pretty sweet. So I'm happy with that. And then the next ones to get on my list are Space 1999 from Shout Factory. I want the Kino Lorber release that just came out of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. I'll get the original Battlestar Galactica Blu-ray set, and then I'll get I used to have it years ago, but I had to sell it. I'll get the Battlestar Galactica, the 2000 series, and then that'll pretty much be most of them. I had heard that Star Hunter was going to get a release again, but who knows? But I've got most of the space shows that have been released. I might pick up a few more, but I'm sort of holding off on a lot of them until I know that there's Blu-rays at this point, because Blu-ray is mature enough that there's really no reason these shows can come out. And even if they came out like as standard def, where it's like, here's like 4 discs instead of like 20, where it's all 480p, I don't care. Give it to me there. The Blu-ray discs are more resilient, and a 480p signal on a Blu-ray disc at the bitrate and the codec they use is at least 20 to 50% better quality than the exact same thing on a DVD. It just is. So we'll see what comes later, but I'm happy with what I've got. I hope that this is sort of a trend that VEI follows later on, starts putting up more better quality. Like, this isn't a full remaster from MGM, but it's better than I was worried it was going to be. So that makes me happy, especially for the price tag. It was like $204 after taxes and everything Canadian. But I had $120 or so in gift cards, and the vast majority of the rest of it was made up by returning my copy of Cyberpunk that was just, they admitted was defective. So that went on there, and I'm a happy camper. So that's sort of what's been up with me, just relaxing, not doing much else. It's been freezing rain the last 3 or 4 days, so I'm not daring to go outside. And I'll be basically just doing this, playing some more games. We'll be back, and I think maybe about a week's time or so with the prototype on Cyberpunk. We might do one that was sort of like we were going to do like a year end, what was our favorite things from last year. Everybody's done that. I think we might do another prototype that's on what we hope to see coming in the future. So until next time, thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for making it with us through this crazy 2020 we had. And, if you want to give us any feedback, where to contact us, feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Contact us, personally on Facebook or Twitter. We're very thankful that you're all here with us, and we hope that we can continue to do this for many, many years to come. So I guess Happy New Year, everybody.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.